Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And everybody's been asking, where's Pimpy? Where's Pimpy? So I thought I would track him down, text him, harass him. And I've had a couple hoops jump through. It sounds like he's been having some things going on as well. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me. And we're going to find out. We don't know where this conversation is going to go. We're just this is a little extra bonus new normal. So you guys, you know him, you love him. We may talk about silver. We may talk about God. We may talk about all kinds of wonderful things. So we'll be right back with my buddy Pimpy here on the new normal. Hey, Pimpy, how are you? And where have you been? Can you catch everybody up on, just give everybody kind of a wrap up on what happened? You've been naughty again. You're in timeout. And
yeah. So,
let everybody know what
some people,
happened.
if I don't show up for a long period of time, there must be a reason. Most likely it's because I'm suspended. So YouTube has suspended me for 2 weeks. I think I got 8 days left over.
Okay.
They're dinking me on videos that I did like over a year ago. And they told me I was bullying and harassing because I was talking about God. And I was like, I said, it's only bullying and harassing if you're a demon. So,
I was going to say, you're bullying and harassing Satan, or?
Yeah, I must be, man. Seriously,
That's
because
really weird.
again, it's the second community strike and they dink you for 2 weeks. So that's where I am.
So how many times have you been put in timeout? Because I'm just thinking my personal experience. I have been had my channel completely wiped, shut down, had to restart twice without any strikes ever. And you've had these strikes, but then you got to restart multiple times. I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason to it, really. It doesn't seem like.
No, I mean, my other channel was removed. It was starting.
Oh, you've had multiple channels. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this particular channel has been around. This is my first and biggest channel, which is Pimpy's Investment Chat. So if I veer off the subjects of investment and I dare talk about anything that would be considered controversial to these people, there's you can't talk about anything the truth. You can blow smoke up people's butt all day long, lie about stuff. And as long as it's pushing their agenda, they'll love and praise you.
They're fine with it.
If you speak out at all and you just express your opinion, that's a no-no. Wow. So have you seen Dr. Shiva at all? Talk about what's happening? Well,
yeah,
have you seen Dr. Shiva in his investigation? I mean, I don't know. I was surprised, but not surprised what he was able to discover, how they now have the ability with just one entity to wipe everybody totally off the internet. Not just out of social media platforms, but you won't be able to email, text. I was like, what the hell is this?
Well, so on my channel, we've talked about when, they were really blatantly obvious about it. The 3-letter agency that starts with F, which that's appropriate, made an announcement. My friend Amy Fulmer, she had a friend bring the article to her attention. We talked about it on a New Truth Tuesday, that they are partnering with carriers, with wireless carriers, to start tracking if you're doing misinformation through texting. They are going to be intercepting those text messages and stopping that transmission of information.
They just don't want people having the ability to gather,
communicate.
Communicate. So they don't want you to rise up against this tyrannical government. They don't want you to do anything like that. So they'll just lie. You can already see him setting the stage in January. The white supremacists, I was like, dude, I was there. There was no just white people. There was all kinds of colored people there. Right. And I was like, so they just lied. Oh, yeah, misinformation. So now they are using this as an excuse to really just crap all over our constitutional rights. And they'll say, well, it's for the protection of, we don't want white supremacy, or we don't want misinformation about the Rona, or you know what I mean? It's just a lie. They
So
just want to
this
control the
whole
narrative.
this recent FEMA test, I'm kind of thinking, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Was that a test to see which outlets would be blocked, or which which who was getting the messages or not? And then I also noticed that like there was a backup date on that announcement for the FEMA tests that were going to be sent out of August 25th. So is that when the real information will be sent out, or I don't know. I
They're
just
gonna
feel like that's kind of sketchy with that whole thing.
Well, on that other, I do have a web page that you pay $3 for the whole month, but on there, I mean, I have a ton of doctors from all around the world in there giving out information. I've been talking to other content creators saying, hey, because if the interview's good, I said, can I get your permission? The guy said, don't, Pimpy, listen to me, don't ask. He goes, I know you're trying to be nice, but if you snag something up that's important, you need to make sure the word gets out. So I know you want to keep asking people, but I go,
Okay.
dude, I just feel I don't want to snag people's stuff up and get them upset. But he
So
does make
kind
a
of
good
the
point.
ask for, or what, how do they say it?
It's
Um,
easier to ask for
ask for
forgiveness than
forgiveness
permission.
than permission. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but I was like, because the information is really good, and I have been able to talk to some of these doctors, and it's just, even they have to have a secret network just to talk. But
Yeah.
some of the things they're
So
saying is
one of
really
the
scary
things,
about. Huh?
yeah. One of the things you talked about when you brought up Dr. Shiva, one of the people working with him is Robert Beatles, and he's trying to help people because we're all working in pockets, and Operation Sunlight is one of the things. It's a platform that he's working on, and he's trying to help all these little pockets working to come together and
Mhm.
work together. And he's working with Dr. Shiva and the information that he's bringing together. So that's one of the things. If you find these people that are working in pockets, if they can go to operationsunlight.com and help kind of coordinate those efforts so that we're all not all these little towers working isolated, but that we can work together and make a
Well, here's the
bigger
thing, though, because
work.
they're getting good. Not only do they control all the social media platforms, but if you need PayPal, they take it.
Yeah.
Change.org, they control that. There was a petition
Yeah.
going in complaining about, Michael Lindell told people, hey, you need to say something. People started going on change.org to say, hey, we want this audit done. It got 100,000 signatures really quick, and they just took it off.
So they
And they
took it
said,
off.
you
Yeah.
cannot use this. This violates your community rules. What is that? Mirror Project?
Oh,
They
I
have
haven't.
they have a strategy to fight back, and they have a great plan. They were using PayPal, and they got a message saying, "Oh, you're violating community rights." So, and then their other web page was taken down. So, if they control the cloud, if they control the internet, that's the problem. Is how do you find the tools to communicate if they control all the tools?
Well,
It's
I
just a
know
matter of
I've
time, like you said.
experienced that, yeah, myself. I have PayPal for now,
Yeah,
but so your PayPal also owns Venmo, and right now
yeah.
Venmo has a just like Cash App. Um, so Venmo is owned by the same people that own PayPal. So I logged on to try to get my Venmo because now they have a credit card where you can, and Venmo, you can buy cryptocurrency. And they have a cash back thing where you get Litecoin back. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
cool. I'll get my Venmo and then I'll get my card and I can get Litecoin back. Well, I cannot log on to Venmo and request my card, and I cannot get Venmo. So I'm guessing that my
We used to
and
have a law that kept this from happening. Like, you can't
yeah,
have a handful of corporations owning everything because this
right,
was the fear. But our governments just sit there and they put on this great show. I'm past that whole Democrat Republican thing. It's no
right,
left, no right, no
right.
Democrat, no, they're all the same crime family. They're just sitting there putting on a show and blowing smoke up people's butt while our rights are being violated. They're trying to act like they're doing something about it, but they don't. Nothing's being done at all. And I mean, at all. And even if you did make it and you got lucky and you got to a court system, now you got, compromised judges. They're not there doing what they're supposed to do. But I keep trying to remind people, and I think that's one of the avenues we're going to take as I go on to the radio show. The radio show that's coming up. and start really reminding people about our constitutional rights. I think people
Exactly.
forgot, it's really important to go over that kind of
Well,
stuff.
that's one thing that I've been a lot frustrated. But so Sasha Monet, which I think is Kaylee McEnany on Twitter, it's like the Il Donaldo Trumpo or the Il Sharko, the kind of the, you know, satire Twitter account for Kaylee McEnany. She said, "Wow, wouldn't it be great if we had a document that restricted overreach of government?" And I'm like, "Yes, people, we do." And in
Yeah, I
Oklahoma,
know.
yeah, in Oklahoma, our governor has started, wrote this 2A wrote this document or law that made us a 2A sanctuary state. We don't need to be a 2A sanctuary state because the Constitution makes us every state is a 2A sanctuary state because of the Constitution. And
Yeah.
then he wrote these. Now we have these bills. So our governor wrote this. People are like, "Oh, don't worry." Governor Stitt wrote this bill to ban the mandatory federal mask in any state building. And I'm like, "You guys, that's already banned by the Constitution." Like it's like this reverse. It's
Yeah.
like, you know what a double negative is? Like,
Yeah.
I ain't got none. We
Yeah.
ain't got none. Common
You're
sense.
starting to think that they do this for show. You know what I mean? Look what I'm going to do for you. And you're so distracted going, "Oh, they're going to protect us." And you go, but not everybody's going, "What do you mean? We already have protection. So why do you feel
Yes.
the need to do this? I'm going to be your savior. Look I'm going to go take care of you." No, you're not. If you really wanted to, I think we're at a
You
point
would
now
just
where,
point to the Constitution. That's a great
yeah,
point.
yeah.
So are they
And
really looking out for you, or are they making themselves the savior?
it's just a show.
Wow.
It's just a show.
That's a great
Um,
point, Pimpy.
I
Do
think,
you have your boxed wine with you? Because it's been a rough day and I do have a drink with me.
wow, you're not going to believe this, but another YouTuber, his name's Shane, we're collaborating. So
Yes.
he said vegan, and I made fun of vegans one day, and he heard about it. And so he said, he challenged me to this,
Oh, no.
what's it called? This lemon or lime glass raw liquid diet. And I said, I'll do it. So we'll do it. We'll work together. Because I'm at the age now where I should be healthy anyways. But just so you know,
I didn't know there was an age for that. Okay.
Yeah, there's some really gross stuff. Not the drink itself, but what it does to your body is like really. But I feel really good. I like it. And my friend Juan got a jump on me. We're going to do this together. And Juan, in 4 days, has lost 11 pounds already. I was like, dang. So it's really good. It's healthy.
Okay.
It's detoxing your body. So no wine right now. Trust me, I want it. But
Well, I'm sorry to bring it up. I was like, well, I know Pimpy will be drinking, so I'm going to go ahead and make a drink too.
well, actually, I don't think that's cheating. Maybe I can have one.
No, I don't want to be a bad influence. I'm sorry. I'm going to be a bad influence on you. Drink your grass water or whatever you're having. I'm sure it's delicious.
No, it's scrumdiddlyumptious,
Yeah.
No, you get used to it after a while, but it's good.
Well, that's good.
But
So
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, these. I think we're so far along now that there's no avenues but one for us. Seriously, if people go, well, we're gonna wait. Trump's gonna get in there, and I'm like, oh my God, people. No, he's already the real president. Yeah, and he's just sitting in there doing nothing. I mean, come on. Do I think he's just sitting there doing nothing? No, I think there are things going on. But is Trump really this savior that people think he is? I thought so. But then you start questioning some of the things he's been doing. Encouraging people to get the vaccine. So I'm like, yeah. So, of course, that rubbed a lot of us the wrong way. But I made a video one time saying the way that Trump had changed a lot of things that was going on in government. I said, ooh, man, if he's the boogeyman, we're in trouble. Because I saw, the Fed and the treasury, and then they start taking the money from the Fed and buying up all these assets through this BlackRock. And I was like, that's not good. This isn't good. Oh yeah, we're buying them up for the people. No, you're not. It's for the Great Reset. Because if they own everything, remember that they said you'll own nothing and rent everything and you'll be happy. Well, they're buying up all the parts. Them in China, believe it or not, people have, between Bill Gates, China, they're bought up most all of our farmland. So if they control our farmland, now George Soros and Bill Gates have now bought up a lot of the labs that we use for testing. Like, we're going to trust it now. You know, I wasn't trusting it in the first place. Now, so they seem to be, they got all this money, and these governments have positioned them.
But it's in the, okay, so I do understand that. I live in Oklahoma. I have a friend that's a realtor. She's told me, like, these big corporations are coming in. They don't care. They're just buying. They'll pay anything. They're buying these. I have another friend in south of Oklahoma City. He's like, China just bought this ranch next to us, whatever. These Chinese people are not even people. They're just Chinese organizations, companies. They're not people. But if it's all, so I'm trying to think a step ahead. If it's all still in the US dollar economy or whatever, and let them think they own it, like, but it's in monopoly money, and that system dies, then they own nothing. Like, it's worth nothing.
They do if I listen to Soros say that he loves the government, the way the government of China, how it's organized, then I hear the IMF, World Bank talk about they're moving their office into China. People forget that ghost city that was built was going strong until Trump got there. Then it looked desolate. Now all of a sudden they're building it back up again. So if you listen to what Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum is, they need a centralized bureau who can oversee the leaders of each country and inform them on how to be unified. I was like, oh, one world government? Yeah, okay. But that's the location they want to be at. And Klaus Schwab said that their people will be centralized in China. So if that's the case, these governments aren't going to chase China out of here. How? The Democrats are handing over this country to them on a platter easily. And, this is when your world leader, that's when your politicians need to come in and go, you know what, enough. I'm tired of what you're doing. I don't care if you guys got the majority or not. This is not going to happen. Come out and tell the American people the truth. Look, they're buying up our farmland right now. There's a problem. They control our medicines. You know what I mean? They control this. Right. Just come out and tell the truth. But they won't, because they'll get silenced immediately, one way or another. Silence, whether they get removed off all the social media platforms, or they get silenced in other ways. So right. They're all compromised. China's been collecting data on everybody for decades. So eventually, what happens is they start putting their people that they can control into power, and that's where they are right now. You got maybe a handful of people left, and they have no power whatsoever. Watching Senate hearings is a freaking joke.
Here's my other, I'm the hopium hustler. I believe this is a possibility that when Sidney Powell came out and she was like shaking, and her voice was shaking with righteous anger, and she was like, she was so angry, and she's like, I might just release the Kraken. And then I was watching some stuff. I follow all these military accounts, whatever. And I can't remember which one exactly, but they were like posted this thing, and they were like, oh, this is the Kraken. And it was a simulation. Yeah. I think I've told you this before.
Picks up all the data.
No. No, it was a simulate. No. This is a totally separate thing than what you think I'm going to say. It was a simulator. It was a machine that they put pilots in, and they teach them, because they lose so many pilots. I'll send you the video, but they lose so many pilots because they lose their orientation when they crash underwater, and so it causes a vagus nerve response in the pilot to simulate the same thing. And so they're able to train them, but it's such a real experience for pilots that they have that. And so they're able to simulate that and have that vagus nerve response to go through that same thing. I think, which all this stuff about, Biden walking past pallets that block walkways, and we know that, that there's cars parked behind him in the West Wing, and he's picking up daisies, handing them to Jill, walking out to the, we know he's not at the White House. We know that's not real. We know that's not even really Biden. We know that we're watching a movie in so many other instances. Why do we think that in the rest of this stuff that we're not watching a movie also? But maybe that is what the American people would have never believed, that it had gotten as bad as it did, up to the point, like, to be totally honest, in one scenario, I believe that it is totally possible that the 2016 election was the one that they caught all the stuff that Mike Lindell is showing you on the symposium. Maybe all that data was really caught then. And that's why Hillary was freaking out. And she was like, oh my God, why did they? And that Trump won. And that's when they rounded everybody up and all that kind of stuff. And all those arrests happened and the people were safe. And we all, had no idea what was going on. And now they started the movie and they had the 2020 election, but we were all safe. And they're playing this thing out while we're all safe. But we think this is all happening. And we think China has bought up our land, and we think that they're spraying our crops. And we think, because if we had not had this experience of the vid and all this stuff, and we hadn't let it be our idea, if we had been told this, we would have never believed it.
We would have went back to being lazy and about our thinking and just allowing the government to be.
I've got to tell you, because when now they're talking about the FEMA camps for high risk people. That really happened in Texas. That really happened. There are old Walmarts that you can drive, or at least back then. I don't know if they've been fixed by then. But
Jade Helm?
Yes, Jade Helm, exactly. Where the barbed wire or whatever it is. If you go to a prison, the barbed wire is pointed in at the top. That's to keep people in. If you go to somewhere where they're protecting to try to keep people out, the barbed wire is out. There's old Walmart centers all over. I mean, this stuff really happened, but it happened a long time ago. I think this all happened a long time ago. I think we are in the Kraken. I think this is for us to have a vagus nerve response to wake the F up. And I'm not saying that to make people sit on their hands and not take action. I took my kid out of public school. I am going to have to be a homeschool mom at almost 50 years old. I'm not happy about it. I sold my Subaru because they got woke and they're going to go broke. And I hope I'm part of that. I hope nobody ever buys a Subaru again, because they made a public statement that they are going to stand behind the Harris Biden because they're green and want to whatever. I hope everybody takes action to support America and freedom and wakes up. And I don't mean woke up. I mean, takes action and takes freedom and takes responsibility. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I'm not saying this for us, but I really think that when Hillary got drug in that van, that maybe that really was her going in Gitmo, and that really was the end. You know what I mean?
So the company I'm going to be, so for those of you who don't know, just in case I haven't really made any real official announcement. So I'm going to be, they're putting me on, I'm getting put on a radio. So I'll be on
Breaking news right here.
Yeah. I'll be on AM 590. And so the people I'm going to be working with is C-Vines. And C-Vines is, remember how the 17th letter was talking about a group of citizens that will be covering what's going on in the tribunals. That's them. They cover them. You know what I mean?
Are you
So
kidding me?
no,
How is it
no,
spelled? C Vines, SEA
it's
or
C,
CE?
it's C with the dash and VINE. And so, you know, the lady Linda, she said she was going crazy because there's all these stories about Hillary there and this politician and that famous person. She's like, no. They're not here. They've not been. There's no tribunals here for them. They're still dealing with the 9/11 terrorists. Do you know that not a single one of them have had a trial yet? All these years later, not one has been a trial. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. She goes, that's nothing. Their cases are being interfered with the 3-letter alphabet starting with the C. The judges keep quitting because their lives are being threatened because there's certain information that's coming out that they don't want out. And you remember Bush said if the people really knew what we had done, they would chase us on the streets, chase us down on the streets. So I was like, oh man. So I'll be privy to some of that, and we'll be covering a lot of the trials that are over there. But we're also going to cover current events too. So I tell people, here's the thing. You know, whether they did or did not, because people are like, because as soon as you bring that up, they get all, whoa, black hat, oh, you're so, I'm like, good Lord, man. They're Pimpy, they're clones. Well, if they're clones, why the hell are we making them just as evil as the other people? Seriously, you just make them good and do good things for a country. It doesn't make no sense. So I say this. Meet me halfway, man. Keep your guards up just in case. There's nothing wrong with that. Just
right. I'm just saying anything is possible at this point.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that 100%.
I think there's so many possibilities at this point.
So for me, I mean, as I see, as time goes on and I see what's going on. So the Mike's show, what he did for 72 hours, Dr. Shiva told us about what's going on with them controlling our access to communicate on all levels, your cell phone, Google, your emails, social media platforms, they can just kick you off. What? And including your cell phone.
Well, Pimpy, you don't know this, but my mother is not able to call me. No, wait. Is that right? Yeah. My mom can't call me, and my oldest son is not able to call me. She can text me. I can text her. I can call her. I can call my son. I cannot call public. So when you were at DC and public was there, public sent some, I was worried about you guys. And so he was sending me pictures and he's like, Lisa, that's not when the dangerous stuff was happening. I'm worried about you guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, something happened. Get away from there. He's like, we're nowhere near there. That's not happening. Yeah. There's like little ladies pushing their babies in strollers, singing hymns, Bible hymns. It's perfectly. And I'm like, no, this is this. And he's like, Lisa. So when he got a visit from 3-letter agency, they printed out pictures that he privately sent me that he did not share publicly on social media. They had printed and showed him pictures that are now missing off my phone. And I cannot call him. No, wait, is that right? Public, you have to remind me. We have like a thing where I can't call him, but he can call me and I can text him.
Yeah, but but as this information, you start to get out and you share with people, you know what happens. Then they stop you. They don't want people finding this stuff out. They want everybody to be in this rose-colored garden. So if everybody's just sitting back and doing nothing, that's always my concern. That people are like, oh, it's just a movie. I go, well, if it's not, you guys better be on guard. I remember when I told everybody about 6 or 7 months ago. Actually, it's probably a little bit longer. Right before the Rona broke out. I told everybody, hey, there's this thing coming up, this great reset thing. You guys should be careful. They're starting to install, facial recognition everywhere. It was like, no, Trump's already in charge. He's not going to allow it to happen. I go, hey, what do you mean it's happening? I said, not only that, look at this thing. They're trying to pass the bill, the Dems are. 11 children as young as 11 years old to be their own consent for vaccines. They don't have to let the parents know. This is before all this Rona stuff broke out. And I go, if somebody vaccinated my kid and didn't tell me, I cannot.
The WEF is also trying to get something passed where 13-year-olds should be the age of consent for sexual
12.
consent.
12.
Oh, is it 12?
12. Yeah.
I'm like,
So,
you sick bastards.
yeah, but see, and that's why they're flooding through the borders. They want a bunch of chaos.
But a lot of these orders and things that they're saying they're trying to pass, even the stuff with the military, they're threatening all this stuff and saying it. But then it's like, well, not to be implemented till September or whatever. So I'm like, well, is it just to put it in people's face to say, oh, this is going to happen, to get people to rise up, have that vagus nerve response so that we'll learn our lesson, and then it's not really going to happen?
So
that's my point.
For me, taking a step back and seeing it, as I pay attention, I'm dealing with the people in the Rona community, dealing with the people in the whole internet community, dealing with the people talking about the Nasera Jacera community. And you start to go, wait, all these weird things are starting to cross over. Something's really happening here. And then you really start to see the bigger picture, what they're trying to do. And so I don't put my faith in any of those people or any of those people, period. Of course, my faith is obviously with God. So, in January, I told everybody about this weird dream that I had. And then they're like, well, it's kind of happening. And I go, yeah, I know that. But I told you guys, starting in July, it gets really, really bad. And then from there, it just keeps getting worse. But when we get to, we lose everything. We do. And I said, then we get to fall months, then all of a sudden it's like prosperity. So, it was weird in the dream to see it. But sometimes, people are like, oh, those are visions. No, that was just a dream. It might be, but I don't know. I don't run around claiming they're visions. But my thing is this. To see just how decimated everything was, it was terrible. But I seen every politician on their knee, every single one of them. And God made himself perfectly clear. Even atheists can see and knew it was God. So I was like, there's no hiding from this at all. But, what you're saying about maybe we got to go through it, we might have to, because what I seen was really, really ugly. I mean, they're purposely putting people out in the streets. They're purposely not trying to keep people from going to work by giving them extra money, purposely destroying jobs. Purposely they're doing this, purposely killing people, putting the juice on them. These are all meant to get you totally 100% reliable onto the government. That's what they want, full control of every aspect of your life. So they're going to do debt relief. And I told everybody's like, yeah, it's Nasera Jacera. I go, not this kind you don't want. You don't. Because on there it tells you the Great Reset is working with the other countries and go, well, we want the governments to offer total debt relief, except for personal debt. If I owe you money, that's different. But everything else, gone. But there's one catch. You have to sign a piece of paper saying that you forfeit all of your properties and you'll never own personal property again. So no assets, no nothing. You own nothing. You have to sign everything away.
That mark of the beast thing. It's that I saw this video today about totalitarianism, and it called it menticide, totalitarianism, menticide, and it was basically like the ultimate, like if you had an enabler and an addict, or a parent with a sick addict child, and they were like, I'm gonna keep giving you the money so you will keep shooting that needle in your arm. And the addict is like, oh, but I'm the victim, but you keep giving me the money. So, I mean, that is what our government has created with this UBI, with all this, well, it's because of COVID, you're an addict. And that's this creation.
But that's what they do. They create the problem and then go, oh, hey, we got the solution. Get rid of you. You people caused this problem, seriously. And white people can't see that. And then you have so many of these useful idiots out there. You know what I mean? When Hitler took over, he had these brown shirts running around doing his bidding for him. And they were turning against their own people, doing all kinds of crimes for him. And then when he was in full control, he had what's called the Knight of the Long Sword. He wouldn't kill them all. And people are like, why'd you do that? He goes, they're going to turn on their own people. I can't trust them to be loyal to me. These people run around doing these BLM and Antifa things. Idiots, useful idiots. They don't realize that they're giving them everything that they want. Now, you heard Nancy Pelosi say she invites the UN to do an evaluation of our racism here.
Oh, I
Why
saw
are
that.
you inviting them in? But it's not just that. Did you know we have some type of treaty or something with the UN that if our cities seem uncontrollable, then they have a right to intervene, come in, and do martial law to keep the citizens in check?
I hadn't
Why
heard
do you
that.
think they're letting all the prisoners out of jail? Why do you think they're letting all the immigrants across the border? They want chaos here. They just keep feeding the field. Everything is racist. Gum's racist. Maps racist. Kool-Aid racist. It's like, what the hell? You know, people are getting tired of it. But as long as they control the narrative and control the way we get our information, it's going to be hard. But, you know, they make, there's really, truly only a handful of people, very small group of people that act that way. But they amplify them on the news. Look at most Americans believe that. No, there's no most Americans. They're not.
No.
Nobody I know thinks that. I would say that if we had to do it by percentages, I'll say probably about, you know, anywhere between 85 and 90% of the people are way past and sick of this crap. You know what I mean? They're done with it. But if all you got is a handful of news, and that was done on purpose, handful of news agencies that control the same media around the world, did anybody want to say something about that? So if indeed we're watching a movie and we get done doing what we're supposed to do, they need to break up all these companies. And I mean all of them. No more media, no more nothing. And the next time you put on a law, this law has to be an amendment that can't be broken. We need to change our amendments to the point where they're very clear. There's no gray areas that they play around with all the time. Make it very clear and as plain as day what our rights are, and that they under no circumstances are to be violated. And that if any politician even tries to make a law or do whatever they're doing now, they are immediately removed from office. So
well, that's what I mean with this whole infrastructure bill and all this. I think that one of the things we need to do is take the time, and I know it would be, I don't know if it's starting all over to like, we've got so much crap put on. It's almost like we need to either start over or do the work to take all this extra shit off and go back to our original constitution. We have too much shit piled on.
It's redundant. They're like, you know, well, we need gun control because of all the violence. What do you mean? You already have a law that says you can't murder nobody.
Right.
Why do you need,
well, like I said, we're like, Governor Stitt is saying we're a 2A sanctuary state. What are you talking about? We have a constitution. We don't need you to have a bill that protects us from federal overreach of a mask mandate because we already have the constitution. So we have all this piling on, you know, and it's just this flip-flop head turn.
I was talking to this lawyer, he's a constitutional lawyer, because I was picking at his brain. I asked him, what does this mean to you, we the people? He goes, that gets brought up a lot. So we're on the same page, we the people as the citizens of the United States. I said, and then if you go over to what is known as Declaration of Independence, our right of revolution, Jefferson laid out. And that is, nobody can violate our inalienable rights given to us by God, period. And that we have the right to pursue life, liberty, bless you, and a pursuit of happiness. And that it says in there as clear as day that those three things, if infringed upon by our government, they can't do that, right? So I said to him, so let me ask you something, because we gave these so-called exemption to these big farm people on these, you know what I'm talking about? The juice in the arm.
Yeah.
I said, so they go, yeah, they did that. And I was like, no. So here's my question to you. I said, if we talk about what's in the Bill of Rights, what's in the Declaration of Independence, where it says we have the right to our inalienable rights given to us by God, and to the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, and nothing is infringed on it. He goes, that's true. I said, so they know that crap they put in us is killing people, maiming them, making them handicapped, the whole 9 yards. And then they're going to try to tell us that we can't sue for that? I don't think I think that violates our constitutional rights, because now the government is interfering with our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We should be able to sue them because of what they did to our lives that screwed up those three things. So therefore, you can't pass a law. It tells you as clear as day in the Constitution, government cannot pass a law in which it violates your Constitution. He's like, well, it's a little more tricky. No. I'm starting to think about, I listened to Dave Jose. Dave Jose smart. He said, people are making our Bill of Rights way too complicated. It's this simple. They want to add all this other stuff in there for clarity, but it makes it very clear as day. The government cannot at any time at all infringe on our rights, period. You don't need to get any more than that. If you cannot violate our God-given rights. And
well,
so
it's
when
kind of
do,
like that point of that there's not an exemption in there that says that, except when there's an emergency, that our
judge has
rights
already
can be
ruled on that.
violated. Yeah.
He said, even in the pandemic, he said, that doesn't give the government the rights to violate the people's rights. At any time, they cannot be right. In there, this says the Constitution says, under any circumstances, you cannot infringe on our rights, period.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Supreme Court did weigh in 1905 on the mandatory vaccines. So it was Jacobson versus Massachusetts. But the smallpox, or one of the vaccine, smallpox or vaccine was out, and it had already been around for a long time, and it was proven to be safe. And he said he didn't want it because him and his son had a bad experience before. And so they didn't want to do the vaccine. So they went to court, and the court said, well, it's so simple. You either get the vaccine or you got to pay a $5 fine. I was like, if he pays the fine, does that mean he's then exempt? Because if they give me that option, I'm going to pay the money because I'm not freaking taking it back. But anyways, he appealed it. He went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, in this case, not the experimental one, the true vaccine, and the vaccine had already been out for a while, that they do have the right in the name of safety to force the vaccination. But the small part in there that was the exception is if the juicy in the arm is causing damage or pain or lives to be lost, then it's not enforceable. That's where we are right now. They inflate the numbers on positive tests, decrease the numbers when it comes to the true amount of deaths, lie about all of the different adverse effects. So when I listen to these doctors on some of these phone calls, and they're from around the world, so I'm up like all hours in the morning listening to them, it just boggles my mind. I'm like, they're like, we report them, but they don't tell the truth. And I was like, this is how bad it is. And the one guy from Germany, he's on one of those videos. He said something that caught my attention. He said, if by now you have not figured out that all of the governments are in on this together, he goes, it's not a secret anymore. He says, not a secret.
What website is this? Is this your?
It's called Pimpy's News Network.com. So PIMPYS News NEWS Network NETWORK.com. So I charge a fee, but all proceeds go to Finding the Life Foundation, because you got to have some maintenance on there. It costs money to put on there.
Yeah.
So for anything above that, we send to the foundation. But it's only $3. Now you have an option. You have an option to pay more, but you don't need to pay more to get more access. You can pay more if you want to give more, because it goes to the foundation.
That's cool. Okay, thank
you. So go up there where the top there where it says video.
Okay.
Just click it.
Click it.
I think it allows you to browse. There you go. Scroll down just a little. See that first category right there? Mm-hmm. Rona news. The next one is election. So all that stuff is in there. And the Rona stuff, people need to go on there. They really do. Because that whole category, all those, lots of documentaries in there. Lots of information. People can get it's gonna blow your mind. It is. I mean, even with my suspicion all the time and distrust of anything coming from the government, what they were telling me was depressing. And again, my friend Juan, he's a doctor. So I said, listen, I don't know everything they're talking about. I know part of it. So he got on the phone call and we listened. His whole demeanor changed. I said,
Yeah.
are they saying anything important? He's like, look, man, I got it. My wife got it. My kids got it. My grandkids got this. And I go, so what are they saying? Is they saying anything? That's what he goes like, yeah, what they're saying is really bad. So I was like, but we did our research into it. Additionally, we got
and that's what I think that's important. You're giving resources here, and everybody can do their own research and then make their own choice for what's good for them, their family, themselves. I know we're like,
but that's how it should be.
Dancing around. Yeah. And that's what freedom's about. That's what no one should feel pressured one way or the other. You should make the decision that's right for you and your family. And we're dancing around words and all that stuff. I know I have kept you way too long, but I do want to touch on tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is the 50th anniversary of Nixon taking us off the gold standard. I want to get your thoughts on that before we head out. Do you see any kind of epic, celebratory, significant event, a banking holiday, to keep people from doing some kind of run on the banks? Do you see anything happening with that other than this big, obvious giant crash on or suppression on silver?
People know, I made myself perfectly clear on how I feel about banks. I don't trust them. They've already started doing bail-ins, and I warned everybody they were coming, and they're doing them. So, and that's what really triggered what happened in Cuba. It was a bail-in. They went to go get their money. They just had enough. So, so I tell people I don't keep no money in the bank. I keep mine in the safe. It's for a reason. But everything else is in precious metals. So if I ever need any real money, then I just take my metals down to my local guy, sell it, get my money, put it in the bank, and pay my bills. But only have enough in there to pay my bills. So is anything going to happen? I think they're going to continue to try to push it down. And I told everybody, hey, if they push it down to $1 an ounce for both gold and silver, don't panic. Trust me. They're doing that just to get you to get scared and sell your precious metals. Don't fall for it. They are more now than ever before. They really are running out of options. I think a lot of things are really starting to slip through their fingers. Like, this is not going according to plan. You're seeing them all of a sudden expediting everything. It was supposed to happen in 2023. But it's not. People are rising up around the world. People are tired of this. People are fighting back now. They're trying to stop this, and they're trying to control the narrative, and they're trying to shut people up, and they're not allowing people to organize protests. That's what they're doing. So having said that, you need something out of this system anyways. If we go to that 100% digital currency, now they control your money. Then what are you going to do? If you don't go get the jab, then you know what they do? Cut off your money. Say until you go get it and you have proof of it. Or how about this? Can you imagine being an obese person and you have your money and your medical records are tied into your bank, and you go to get a hamburger and they're like, we're sorry, you can't get a hamburger with your card. You got to lose weight. Can you imagine them having that much control over you? Because that's where it's going.
Or your medicine too. I mean, think of how, they made a lot of us sick, obese, dependent on big pharma. And then if you don't obey and you need your diabetes, your insulin, your blood pressure meds, your whatever, and you don't obey.
Speak out against the government, they cut you off. They cut you off. You don't do what the government tells you, they'll cut you off.
Yeah, they've tried to make us dependent in multiple ways. And so you guys, and it's never too late. I really respect that you, and even though I'm trying to be bad influence on you, I was all excited. I thought we are going to have drinks tonight, but I really respect that you're, being really responsible about, like, it is time for us to be responsible for our finances, for our personal safety, for our personal wealth, our health, our physical safety, or all of that. And that is how we have our sovereignty and our freedom. So,
but you're right there. So if you don't start, if you haven't done already, if you don't have the gold to silver, your 6 months worth of fiat currencies plus 10%, you know what I mean? A way to protect yourself. If you don't have what you need out of the system, like the food thing, I got like the 2-year supply thing. If you don't have that, then they have you. But if we all had that and they try to control us, we're like, go ahead, we're going to shut down. We got our own money. We could do our own thing. Yeah. I did a whole video on those gold-backed dollars and showed how communities are starting to use that. So even if they cut off the fiat dollars, We'll still have our own form of currency. And I talked to our local business people down there and they like the idea. So we're looking into it a little more. But every community, you need to start doing that. Start talking to your neighbor. Most people don't even know their neighbors' names. That's how sad it is.
I know. No, it's very true. It's very true. Well, I appreciate you. I just wanted to check in with you, and my heart is always thinking about you, and always
I appreciate it.
really appreciate the work that you do and all that you do for the community. And so keep it up. Keep up the good work. Hopefully you can come to one of we're starting monthly meetups. We're staying mostly in the Midwest, and I know you're out there on the West Coast, but hopefully we'll get out that way maybe in the spring.
Just let me know when.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me aboard.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being patient with me. All right, everybody. Thanks in the chat for bringing some good conversation. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with us, and great to see everybody on a Saturday. Give us a like, share this video, get some more information out there, and everybody make sure to take some responsibility for your personal health, your wealth. What else did we talk about? Your health, your wealth, your safety, your financial responsibility as well.
And reach out to God. Trust me, it'll help you in the long run.
That's right. Your spiritual wellness as well. So for sure. All right. Take care, everybody.